Hey, this is Pranav here, and every week I show up and break down one big idea by a consultant, an expert, a coach, an entrepreneur, so that we don't have to do crazy things, so that we don't have to comply to the algorithm to stand out, so that we can stand out without really overthinking about the algorithm, so that we can stand out without really pushing huge amount of content everywhere, so that we can just stand out with a compelling message. In this particular video, I am going to continue the series where I am building my big idea in public. And just to take you back a little bit, we covered how I transition into helping my clients with their big idea in the last video. So if you have not seen it, I urge you to see it because that's part one. This is part two. How I actually realized because of my friends in the mastermind where they pushed me to have like a strong compelling message in place, and I realized, okay, I cannot hide anymore, I cannot keep rationalizing anymore, I do need to plant my flag on something. We also looked at the definition of a big idea and what it actually is, along with a few examples. We also looked at how a big idea is basically the bridge between what your perspective is, what your unique perspective is, and what the audience is going through, or what the problem of the audience is. So let's break that down a little bit. Okay, so let's start with who my audience is. The loosely defined audience that I have, and I'm also gaining clarity as I go ahead. But for now, the defined audience is a business owner, which is super broad, I know, but it's typically founders, consultants, coaches, etc. That's like a loosely defined audience. But a specifically defined audience, if you ask me, is a soloist who is typically an expert or a coach or a consultant. I do have a certain idea about their revenue, and but they're definitely a one-person business. Psychographically, definitely we are aligned because they do not want to be another Gary Vaynerchuk where they are creating content for all the platforms. No, they want to focus more on depth than width, and they want to create a compelling message, and they are in general fed up of all the noise in the world of marketing. So those are my two sets of audiences. Will I be focusing on the specific audience going ahead? I want to. I think I need a little more data. I'm still a bit hesitant in going all in on this. But I think there is a big chance, maybe 90-95% chance that I'll just go with the soloist audience. And this is perhaps the loosely defined audience is just perhaps a way to sort of tame my mind or to address my fear that, okay, it's okay. Even if you have not yet niched down, you can still maybe meander a little bit. But I feel confident about going for soloists in the coming future. Now, what are the problems of soloists? So there are a ton of problems, but if I had to really narrow down their problems within the realm of my expertise, which is typically marketing, broadly it's marketing, but within that maybe messaging, maybe it's content creation, and so on, right? So I have intentionally kept the messy thinking of my head onto this PPT because I did not want to show like a very refined version. Like I said, one of the things that I want to do here is just to show you how messy this process is. It's not really like it's done. It's not really very smooth where you go through different steps and it's ready, right? So this is me brainstorming on my Ulysses, which is a writing software that I use, and the problems that kept arising when I talked to. So I was on a listening tour where I was talking to my prospects. I was trying to understand what problems they have, and these things kept repeating. Okay, so they do not have a differentiated brand, that they and their competitors look alike. They do not have content that resonates with their ideal buyers. It feels like they're shouting into the void. They're overly dependent on the referrals, and what they want is a content engine that pulls in the referrals, and they struggle to balance their client work with content creation. Now, this is not really in order of importance. All of them, I think, are important, but these are a few patterns that were emerging as I explored the problems of soloists. Now, let's introduce my perspective just a little bit. We know that they have a certain set of problems. They themselves have articulated it. But why do I feel that they have this problem? What is Pranav's unique perspective? Because that's what we want to talk about, right? We want to talk about your or my unique perspective on this problem, not just the problem itself. So this is me ranting again. Okay. You can see a lot of typos here. You can see maybe grammar issues. Maybe I'm being verbose, repetitive. Doesn't matter. Okay. Because this is just a sneak peek into how I'm thinking. So I feel there is an excessive focus on relationships. There is an excessive focus on wanting to be seen as experts, but they should be seen as a little bit vulnerable and human. They want to indulge in conversion rate optimization techniques, which really annoys me. This is not something I encourage. Now, this point is not entirely true. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but sometimes, yeah, I've seen them obsess about stuff like what is the color of the button, which is not really what the kind of business they are in. That's more like a low cost, high volume business. But soloists who are typically selling coaching services or done for you services are selling something which is high priced, right, or high ticket. Then they don't know how to tell stories. They're connected with they're concerned with the algorithm treadmill, which means that they're overly concerned about what a hook should look like, what a thumbnail should look like, and they feel that okay, the only way for me to succeed is to hack the algorithm, publish at a specific time, and only then I'll succeed. Somehow they cringe at the term growth hacking, etc., but they feel that they don't have any option. They feel that okay, all the successful people out there are doing something which is which is maybe high volume aggressive marketing, and maybe the only way for me to succeed in that world is to adopt the same strategy. They try to go wide, which means they try to appeal to a broader audience, whereas they should be focusing on the depth. They need large amount of trust with a small audience, and they are not shouters, but they sometimes they wonder if that is the only way to grow. So this is like a sneak peek into the messy thinking that I have. We started with defining my audience, problems of the audience, and why I think they have this problem. Okay. So now where do I go from here? Because ultimately we want to get to like a compelling message, right? So how do we build it? How do I connect the problems of my audience with my own perspective? That is really going to be the challenge, which is what we'll cover in the next video. Thank you.